Across Mississippi, 5 Black women disappeared. Different cities, different years, different circumstances. But each disappearance left behind the same question: what happened to her? Some of these cases received only brief attention. Others have remained largely unknown outside the communities where these women lived. And for years, their families have been left waiting for answers that still haven't come. Tonight, we're traveling across Mississippi to tell their stories. And before this documentary ends, we'll also tell the story of another Mississippi woman who spent more than 4 decades without even having her name. These are the women who vanished without headlines. Mississippi. 12 hours after Kamisha Williams was last seen riding her bicycle away from a friend's home, her cell phone was used to make a call. But Kamisha herself has never been seen again. It was Sunday, August 9th, 2009, in Byhalia, Mississippi. At approximately 11 o'clock that morning, Kamisha was seen riding her bicycle away from a female friend's trailer home. She was wearing blue jeans, a purple tank top, and white Reebok sneakers. She was carrying a gold and white purse. At the time, Kamisha was living with her grandmother and her 2 children. Nothing publicly available explains where Kamisha intended to go after leaving her friend's home, or what she planned to do that day. Then, approximately 12 hours after that last sighting, there was activity from Kamisha's cell phone. Her phone was used to place a call to a male acquaintance in the Memphis, Tennessee area. Investigators determined that the call originated near the Mississippi-Tennessee state line, close to where Kamisha lived. That phone call became one of the most significant publicly known details in her disappearance, but it did not lead investigators to Kamisha. Years later, additional reporting provided another glimpse into the investigation. In 2025, Dark Horse Press revisited Kamisha's case and cited reporting from WREG dating back to 2010. According to Dark Horse Press's account of WREG's reporting, investigators traced the call to a Memphis area cell phone, but were unable to locate the man whose name was associated with it. That report also described a series of calls from the phone approximately an hour after investigators believed Kamisha may have met with him. Those details raise questions, but they do not provide answers. Publicly available records do not establish what happened to Kamisha after she rode away from that trailer home, who physically made the call from her phone, or whether she actually met the person investigators were attempting to locate. And that distinction matters, because more than 16 years later, Kamisha's disappearance remains an open missing person case. Kamisha is 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighed approximately 115 pounds when she disappeared. She has black hair and dark eyes. She also has several identifying tattoos, including the name Kamari on her right forearm, her name tattooed on her left leg, and another tattoo on her right leg. But beyond the physical description, Kamisha was also a mother. She had 2 children waiting at home. And on August 9th, 2009, she rode away from a friend's home in Byhalia and disappeared. 12 hours later, her phone left behind one final clue. Kamisha did not. Before Shalunda Matthews disappeared, there was one responsibility she consistently kept. She regularly reported to her probation officer. Then, in October of 2008, those check-ins suddenly stopped. Shelanda was living in Columbus, Mississippi. On the night before her disappearance, Shelanda and her boyfriend met at a local club. According to her boyfriend, the night was normal. Afterward, they returned to the home on 6th Avenue where they had been staying and went to sleep. The following morning, October 9th, 2008, her boyfriend said he gave Shalunda money to go to the store and pick up some things they needed. Shalunda left the residence. She never returned. Her boyfriend was the last known person to see her. Investigators questioned him about Shalunda's disappearance, but authorities did not consider him a suspect. And as the days passed, Shalunda's absence became increasingly difficult for her family to understand. She had a son who was being raised by Shalunda's mother. According to her family, it wasn't like Shalunda to disappear without warning or remain out of contact with him. There was something else that made her disappearance unusual. At the time, Shalunda was on probation. She had been complying with the terms of her probation and regularly reporting to her probation officer. After she disappeared, those reports stopped. Eventually, a warrant was issued for her arrest because she had failed to report. But for the people who knew Shalunda, her silence wasn't simply a missed appointment. It was another indication that something was wrong. Years passed. Her family continued waiting, and investigators were left with a remarkably small amount of publicly known information about what happened after Shalunda walked away from that home. There has been no publicly confirmed sighting of Shalunda since October 9th, 2008. She is 5 feet, 3 inches tall and weighed approximately 125 pounds when she disappeared. She has brown hair, brown eyes, pierced ears, and is left-handed. She was also known by the nicknames Bolo and Wee Wee. In October of 2025, 17 years after Shalunda disappeared, local news station WCBI revisited her case. The central question remained exactly where it began. Where is Shalunda Matthews? She left home that morning to pick up a few things, a routine errand that should have ended with her coming back. Instead, more than 17 years later, Shalunda still hasn't returned. 4 years passed before Moriah Danielle Ludwig was reported missing. By the time her family asked investigators to help find her, the last contact with Mariah that law enforcement could confirm was already years old. Mariah was 20 years old when she disappeared. Her case is associated with Gulfport, Mississippi, and unlike many missing person cases, there's very little publicly available information explaining what happened in the days surrounding her disappearance. What authorities have been able to establish is one important date, October 31st, 2014. According to Mississippi's Repository for Missing and Unidentified Persons, that is the most recent date of contact with Mariah that has been confirmed by law enforcement. Exactly what that contact involved has not been publicly explained. After that, the publicly documented trail goes quiet, and it would remain quiet for years. In 2018, Mariah's family reported her missing. They told authorities they had not seen or heard from her in approximately 4 years. That meant investigators were dealing with an enormous gap in time. Years had passed since Mariah's last confirmed contact, and very few details were publicly available about where she had been, who she may have been with, or what happened to her. Her loved ones have expressed fears that Mariah may have been trafficked or may have met with foul play. But those are concerns expressed by her loved ones, not conclusions established by investigators. What we do know is that Mariah's disappearance remains unresolved. and her case remains open. At the time she disappeared, Mariah was 20 years old. She is biracial, Black, and white. She stood approximately 5 feet 3 to 5 feet 4 inches tall and weighed between 90 and 110 pounds. She has brown eyes and naturally dark hair, although she was known to dye her hair lighter colors. Mariah also has several distinctive tattoos. Among them, a large design containing the word love on her upper right arm, a Michael Jordan symbol on her right forearm, a vine near her right thumb, stars and the name Jerry on her wrist, the name Michael on her thigh, and a heart on the side of her lower back. She also has a scar on her abdomen and wears glasses. Mariah may have used the names Danielle Alexandria Kuiper and Danielle Mariah Mitchell. More than a decade has now passed since October 31st, 2014. And because Mariah wasn't reported missing until years later, there is still no detailed public timeline explaining what happened after her last confirmed contact. No publicly confirmed destination, no established explanation for why communication with her family stopped, and very few publicly known clues about what happened during those missing years. For Mariah's family, 4 years passed before there was a missing person investigation. Now, more than a decade has passed since the last contact law enforcement has been able to confirm. And Moriah Danielle Ludwig is still missing. Stephanie Hartwell's morning began with her children. On November 28, 2001, she walked them to the school bus stop near their home in Columbia, Mississippi. It was an ordinary morning routine, but Stephanie would never be there when her children came home. Between approximately 8:30 and 9 o'clock that morning, Stephanie was last seen in the vicinity of Harrison Jefferson Road. She was seen getting into a green 4-door Saturn with tinted windows. After that, Stephanie disappeared. Her family had every reason to expect her back. According to Mississippi, Stephanie was supposed to babysit her nephew that morning, while her sister attended a job interview. When her sister later arrived at Stephanie's apartment, she found the door unlocked. The bathtub was filled with water, and clothing had been laid out for the child. According to the family's account, it appeared Stephanie had been preparing for her nephew's arrival, but Stephanie wasn't there. As the day continued, her family became increasingly concerned. They expected Stephanie to return before her children came home from school. She didn't. Her family said leaving her children behind without returning was something Stephanie simply would not do. Stephanie was reported missing. Investigators searched for her, but the search produced no answer explaining where she had gone. Her purse was eventually recovered. According to the Charlie Project, nothing appeared to be missing from it. An extensive search failed to locate Stephanie or uncover a publicly known clue explaining what happened after she got into the green Saturn. And the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain unclear. More than 2 decades later, Stephanie's children are still searching for answers. In December of 2024, WDAM spoke with members of her family about the disappearance. Her children remembered November 28, 2001, as the last day they saw their mother at their home near Columbia. They were children when their mother disappeared. They grew up while the questions surrounding her disappearance remained. Stephanie is approximately 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighed between 145 and 150 pounds when she disappeared. She has black hair and a small scar beneath her right eye. Stephanie also has several distinctive tattoos. Those include the initials RJJT on her outer right forearm, a butterfly on her right bicep, the name Steph on her left bicep, and a heart with several drops beneath it on her left thigh. Her ears are pierced. More than 24 years have now passed without a publicly confirmed explanation for what happened to Stephanie. A mother walked her children to the bus stop, made plans to care for her nephew, and was expected home. Instead, sometime between 8:30 and 9 that morning, Stephanie Hartwell got into a green Saturn and never came back. Some missing person cases leave behind detailed timelines, surveillance footage, phone records, or witnesses who can help investigators piece together a person's final known movements. Mel Keisha Williams' case is different. Very little information about her disappearance has ever been made public. Mel Keisha was 21 years old and from Vicksburg, Mississippi. According to Mississippi Missing Person Resources, Mel Keisha disappeared from Vicksburg in September of 2013. Beyond that, the publicly available details are remarkably limited. Mississippi reports that Mel Keisha was last seen in Vicksburg and that she has not been seen or heard from since. There is no detailed, publicly available timeline explaining where Mel Keisha was going, who she may have been with, or what happened around the time she disappeared. And more than a decade later, those missing details leave behind questions that have never been publicly answered. Where was Mel Keisha going? What happened after she was last seen? And how could a 21-year-old woman disappear with so little information about her case reaching the public? Mel Keisha is a Black woman, approximately 5 feet 10 inches tall, and weighed around 160 pounds when she disappeared. She has black hair and brown eyes. A Mississippi Missing and Unidentified Persons flyer includes a photograph of Mel Keisha with a child and identifies that child as her daughter. A reminder that behind the few lines available in a missing persons listing, there was an entire life. There was a young woman, there was a mother, there was a daughter waiting for her, and there were people who knew Mel Keisha, loved her, and knew when she was no longer there. Today, Mel Keisha's disappearance remains unsolved. Recent local reporting from Vicksburg has once again brought attention to her case, but the central question remains unanswered. What happened to Mel Keisha Williams? For some missing women, we can reconstruct their final hours almost minute by minute. For Mel Keisha, even the basic circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain largely absent from the public record. And that absence is part of why her story still needs to be told. For the first 5 women in this documentary, the question remains, where are they? But our final story begins with a different question. For more than 40 years, who was she? On December 27, 1977, hunters discovered skeletal human remains in Jackson County, Mississippi, near Interstate 10. A medical examination determined that the remains belonged to a Black woman, small in stature, with a distinctive gold front tooth. Investigators also believe she may have worn a wig, but they did not know her name. And without an identity, she became known as Escatawpa Jane Doe. Years became decades. Investigators created facial reconstructions, computer-generated images, and eventually turned to DNA, all in an effort to determine who she was. But her identity remained unknown. Then, decades after her remains were discovered, the case took another turn. Convicted serial killer Samuel Little began confessing to murders committed across the United States. Little ultimately confessed to 93 killings. The FBI has described him as the most prolific serial killer in United States history. Among Little's confessions was the killing of a black woman in Mississippi in 1977. Little said he met the woman in Gulfport. Investigators connected his confession to the unidentified woman known as Escatawpa Jane Doe. Little did not know her name, but investigators later confirmed that he had been in the area during the relevant time period. In August of 1977, Samuel Little had been arrested in Pascagoula for petite theft. Still, even the confession of a suspected killer could not answer the question investigators had been asking for decades. Who was this woman? Eventually, investigators turned to newer DNA technology. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office, working with the Mississippi State Crime Laboratory, contracted Othram, a forensic DNA laboratory, to help identify Escatawpa Jane Doe. Using DNA from her remains, Othram developed a genealogical profile. The research produced a lead to a possible distant relative in Texas. That lead eventually connected investigators with a 93-year-old woman, originally from LaFleur County, Mississippi. She remembered a cousin who had disappeared during the 1970s. Her name was Clara Birdlong. Another distant relative remembered Clara too. According to that relative, Clara went by the nickname Nuttin. She was small, had a gold front tooth, and wore a wig. The description was strikingly similar to characteristics investigators had known about Escatawpa Jane Doe for decades. Investigators continued searching for people who remembered Clara. In August of 2021, they located a woman in LaFleur County who did. She recalled that sometime during the 1970s, Clara left LaFleur County with a black man who said he was traveling through Mississippi on his way to Florida. Clara was never seen or heard from again. Investigators then obtained DNA samples from people closely associated with Clara. Othram analyzed those samples, and after additional investigation and the elimination of other possible relatives, investigators reached their conclusion. The woman who had spent 44 years known only as Escatawpa Jane Doe had a name: Clara Birdlong. Authorities publicly announced Clara's identification in September of 2021. She had been born in 1933 in LaFleur County, Mississippi. After 44 years, Clara finally had her identity back. Samuel Little never learned that Escatawpa Jane Doe had been identified. He died in prison in December of 2020, months before investigators restored Clara's name. Authorities consider Samuel Little a prime suspect in Clara Birdlong's death, but her official cause of death remains undetermined. And although Little confessed to killing the woman, investigators associated with Escatawpa Jane Doe, his connection to Clara's death should be understood as an investigative conclusion, not a conviction in her case. Identifying Clara did not answer every question about what happened to her, but it answered the question that had followed her remains for 44 years. Who was she? She was Clara Birdlong, a woman from LaFleur County, Mississippi, a woman whose relatives still remembered the details that made her recognizable: her small stature, her gold tooth, even the nickname they knew her by. For decades, the world knew her only as Jane Doe. Today, we can say her name: Clara Birdlong. Kamisha Williams, Shalunda Matthews, Moriah Ludwig, Stephanie Hartwell, Mel Keisha Williams, and Clara Birdlong. 6 Black women, 6 stories from Mississippi. 5 remain missing, and 1 spent 44 years without her name. But none of their stories should disappear from our memory. If you found this documentary meaningful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share their stories. Because someone, somewhere, may still know something. Until next time, say their names and share their stories. Kamisha Williams, Shalunda Matthews, Moriah Ludwig, Stephanie Hartwell, Mel Keisha Williams, and Clara Birdlong. 6 Black women, 6 stories from Mississippi. 5 remain missing, still leaving behind families, questions, and years without answers. Their names deserve to be spoken, and their stories deserve to be shared. If you found this documentary meaningful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please share this video. Someone watching may recognize a face, remember a name, or know something that could help bring answers to a family still waiting. Until next time, say their names, share their stories, and don't let them be forgotten.